So I've been reading a book lately called The Spirituality of Wine. I'm not a drinker, and I'm from this continent, the US. So,
But Canada, so north.
well, yes, actually, from Canada and from the States. And so I didn't grow up with the culture of drinking alcohol just lightly with, meals and all sorts of different cultural stuff. And the water's not as good there, apparently, or historically it hasn't, anyways. And there's definitely a lot of wine in culture, white culture in particular. So we were thinking, we should get a little educated on it, even not being drinkers. Well, we're not drinking
No, not anymore. I have, but
because in this continent, particularly in America, we tend to be very like black and white, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
that's a religious affectation.
It really is. And I'm not what most would call religious, so I have been kind of analyzing all of my beliefs and how I got to them, and is it actually wrong to drink, or is it one of those things where we've just basically overreacted, and well, because people get hurt, thus I'm not going to do it. Well, isn't that the same argument as why people refuse to have guns? Well, yes, people do get hurt by irresponsible use of guns, but does that mean we're not going to allow ourselves to have a gun when we're a responsible person? No, there's benefit to having a gun. And similarly, you can't even take the Bible and say that there isn't a verse here and there that actually says that wine is beneficial for your health. You can look it up. There are verses advocating for drinking wine in the Bible. Now you could say, oh, wine is different than it used to be. Well, there is some argument for that, yes, but massively different? Not really. It yes, maybe more sweet, maybe has different grapes. Sometimes it's watered down, sometimes it's not, but that was a problem they had back then too. And for things to do with ceremonies, it was considered very bad to have watered down or cheap wine, but for everyday use, not so much. And in fact, they did it regularly to sanitize their water, just having a little bit in it. And drunkenness was a problem for some of them, just as it's a problem for some people now. But one thing that was brought up in this lovely book here is that historically it's been known as a way to expose the soul, as they put it, or the character of a person.
The true character of a person.
Yeah. So, you hear about happy drunks and you hear about angry drunks, and some people are like, well, you won't know if you're going to be a drunk until you have that first sip, so you shouldn't have that first sip. You might be an addictive personality. Well, I was petrified, frankly, for a very long time that me being a passionate person might be an addictive type person. And so anything that was addictive, I decided I wasn't going to do, including soda, coffee. And while there is no justification for soda, it's not good for you in any way, there are some benefits to coffee. And being addictive, I thought, I can't do that. And I like feared it. Similarly, alcohol, which actually has benefits.
In moderation.
In moderation. Similarly, you can look back and see that even things like tobacco, I'm not saying is a good thing, and it's certainly not with all the toxic stuff they have in it now, but historically they used that like at ceremonies in a peace pipe, Indians in particular. And they used it because it allowed them to all calm down, chill, and talk together like sane people, you know? And similarly, people get together to drink, and it makes them more their open self, more extroverted, which that brings out who they really are. Now, that could be a bad thing if the person's not in a good place, or it could be a good thing. I personally would rather know what a person's thinking. And if they are a very secretive person, if they are very introverted, then maybe they need alcohol in order to just, kind of get out there and be themselves. But I mean, it shouldn't be used as a crutch, but there are benefits to it physically. So, are we going to blame the spoon for getting fat, so to speak? Are we going to blame the gun for, people who are going to be out of control? I mean, that's the same thing as blaming the alcohol. There are some problems with overuse, but there's problems with overuse of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
True. Anything can be addictive.
Right.
It can be an escape.
Yes. So I'm not saying that I'm going to go out and start drinking today, but I do think that there is a benefit to be had for some people, and possibly in moderation, similar to taking a tincture or something on a regular basis. So, yeah, I think we should consider maybe not demonizing it so much in this continent. It's just a thought.